Okay, so hey everybody, how are ya? This is Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, coming to you live with Mustang Monday. I know it's been a few weeks. I wanted to show you my hat, first of all. Check that out. It says Certified Badass. My daughter made it for me. Actually, she didn't make it for me as a gift for Mother's Day. I actually bought the hat a while ago and told her I wanted a hat, and it just happens to be that she brought it to me this weekend. So now I can cover up the roots and still be badass. I wanted to get on and do this video today. I know, life has just been really strange. And I shared with you a while back, I've done a live video. I've done a few videos where I basically shared that, life kind of turned sideways for me. And, I was sharing with a colleague of mine about some of the challenges that I've been having, which have prevented me from, really being present with this Resilience Summit, believe it or not, that I'm doing with my colleagues this week. And he says, wow, okay, well, you could really be it sounds like a case study to me. And he was absolutely right. And I'm not opposed to using myself as an example of how to be badass no matter what's going on in your life. Because first of all, let me just, if you've been following me for a while, you know some of my past, my history. And I'm not going to, this is not the forum for me to sharing all of my problems with you, or all of the trauma and crises that my family has survived, endured, and been through. And I'm not trying to say that ours is any greater than yours. I just have been uniquely trained for certain things in life. And one of my greatest strengths when crises occur is I have the ability to compartmentalize, multitask, and get down to business and be very, very strategic and organized and take care of things. Probably because of my business acumen, maybe because we've already been through so many crises in my family that you kind of learn the ropes, or maybe because I was a single mom, or an entrepreneur, or maybe it's because I'm a licensed psychotherapist. The thing is that it's our experiences and what we choose to learn and how we decide to deal with crises that occur that are going to make all the difference in the world to you. And so even over the weekend, as I'm talking to some of my adult children, and we're discussing the matters that are going on with our family right now, they even said, you're handling this really well. And all I could say was, well, I'm badass, of course. But the thing is that I'm just using the tools that I've learned and picked up along the way. And what I've done with the License to Be Badass program is basically said, okay, here's the tools that worked for me, folks, and I just want to share them with you. And I even was sharing with my daughter not too long ago, it's like, I just hope that it doesn't take you as long to learn to use these tools as it took for me to learn to use them, so that you can get through this stuff maybe a little more smoother than what I originally had been through. So just in a nutshell, I want to show you how to be badass no matter what. And it looks like the journey that I'm taking, I'm just going to be an example. I promise to be transparent and authentic, but it's not going to be a matter of me asking for sympathy. Okay? I haven't discussed anything with anybody, but I will get some advice from some of my colleagues about how to share this best. But here's the thing. I'm at the bottom end of being a baby boomer. Okay? So I'm the younger end of baby boomers. And when I first started wanting to work with badasses, and this, the idea the idea came years ago. It initially started out with badass baby boomers. The License to Be Badass, that evolved over the course of time. That's kind of how marketing does. That's how your business does it. The messaging and the everything just sort of evolves in the program. And so that's how License to Be Badass actually was evolved. And I tell the story later. I actually tell the story in my online badass certification class about the origin of how Licensed to Be Badass came. But initially I wanted to be working with baby boomers, because we're the sandwich generation. Sandwich means we have aging parents, okay, and we also have adult children who are also starting to raise families. So we have to be caregivers for our aging parents. Sometimes we also have to be, babysitters or something for our grandchildren, depending on what your circumstances are. And this can be very stressful. And baby boomers is a very large group of people. And so the thing is that what happened over the course of this whole stay home, COVID, coronavirus, whatever we're calling it, quarantine, lockdown, all of the other things that are going on with everybody's life. And I'm still a psychotherapist. I'm very, very grateful that I am an essential business, and that I've been able to just transition to, providing services, video or phone, for my clients, and still give them the help that they need. And of course, a lot of depression and anxiety, being cooped up at home, and even with, that's what I specialize in. And we're always, I'm constantly in this mode of thinking up creative ways on how this particular individual, who I know really well, can make things work for themselves at home to reduce the symptoms of depression or anxiety. And then, but then I've got my own stuff going on in my own life. And so what I did was, at the beginning of this whole thing, my parents are 82 years old, both of them. I still have both my parents. They're 82 years old, and they have chronic medical issues, and as well as regular aging. So high risk category, and they live up in the high desert, and I live in Temecula. So I strongly recommended that my parents come down here to stay with me and my son and his girlfriend during this time, so that we can make sure that they're fed and they're comfortable and they're taken care of, and we can get groceries for them and all of that, and just let's spend the time together, since we're all going to be under one roof. They came, but a little bit reluctantly, only just because they didn't want to be, maybe they felt like they were being ripped out of their home, and I don't blame them. They didn't really have the whole picture. None of us really had the whole picture, right? So a couple days into this whole thing, I don't even remember what day, now I don't even know the timelines anymore, but my dad has this coughing episode that caused him to pass out. And so we had to call 911. Here's my 82-year-old dad laying on the ground, on the floor in my living room, and it's 9:30 at night. We had to call an ambulance to come and see about him. Well, of course, with this whole lockdown thing, okay, they wanted to make sure that he was okay. They wanted to get him evaluated more than just, a paramedic call. Can't deny that, but yet there's the fear of sending him to the hospital. Anyway, he had ended up having bronchitis, but it was pretty traumatic for my 82-year-old mom not to be able to go see my dad and hold vigil at the ER, like, this is our family pattern, So it turned out that he had bronchitis. They ended up sending him home a few hours later. Well, they didn't send him home. I had to go get him at 2 a.m. And even that experience, going to the ER at 2 a.m. with the beginning of this whole lockdown, was quite interesting. So it turns out he was okay. It was a bronchitis. We had to treat him. Then there was other things. My mom had an incident. I don't even remember now. I broke out in head to toe hives just because of the stress. Here I'm carrying my parents right now. My son and his girlfriend, they're both in the restaurant business. They've lost their jobs. I'm the only one working, but I am working in mental health. And my parents are, they've been ripped from their home and their animals and their pets and their own lives. And we're all displaced. They're in my bedroom. I'm on a futon in my makeshift office at my home. It's just so much. So I broke out in head to toe hives. And so I can't even tell you. It's like there's just been more and more and more. And then with the adult children that I have, they too are having their own family circumstances. And so there's just been a lot. So I've had a lot of people say, "How are you managing this?" And I'm like, well, first of all, I use the badass tools that I promote. I discovered that they work for me, and I've fine-tuned them, and I've honed them to the point where I know exactly what it is I need at the moment when I need it. So whether I need to be self-aware of what's going on around me, as well as my own emotions about it and how my body is feeling about it, because the body keeps track, and it does. Your mind will send off these signals on what's going on. So when there were certain things happening, I almost had this like physiological response. It's like, if you remember, what was the show? Lost in Space with the robot. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. I had those experiences, and I've learned to be sensitive to understand what's happening with my body. So the results of, after a while, certain circumstances with my parents, it became a health and safety issue that they now need to move down here with me. They're aging, and seeing them on a day-to-day basis, I was able to observe, that it's time. And it's not that I wasn't prepared. I was prepared. I've been preparing to eventually take on my parents for several years now. because they've already lost 2 sons, and I'm their youngest and their daughter, and likely, and it's an honor. They've been great parents. So I was already prepared. So the home that I'm living in I already got into this home 2 years ago with the anticipation that my parents are going to come with me. But now it means I got to move my office so I can make room for them. And so now we're making arrangements to sell their place. And it's just been a lot, you know? And then Mother's Day comes, well, the day before Mother's Day, or this past weekend. All right, now it's like we got the plan in place to move mom and dad down here. Okay, maybe this thing is uplifting a little bit. The things with my kids, it's like, I'm not going to share their business, but you know, it's like, but each one of them has a significant life-altering changes happening, and me as well. Now clearly I'm having to make decisions about my business as well, because if I have my parents here and they could be possibly needing medical care, which my dad has already demonstrated that he does, then not really a great idea for me to be traveling a lot for business. So I need to sort of reevaluate, be a little flexible, pivot what I do, maybe do a little bit more online or passive income rather than travel. So the point that I'm making here today for this Mustang Monday was, number one, I have to get back to it, Mustang Mondays. I love the Mustang Monday, and giving you a badass tip, but also to be perfectly authentic with you and transparent about where I've been, what my journey has been, because tomorrow it begins a Resilience Summit 2020 that I've been working on with 5 of my colleagues. So there's 6 of us, 6 different sessions, about an hour a piece, from helping you with tools and resources and ideas to help you pivot and navigate and be resilient as we continue on this journey. We don't even know what the outcome is going to be. We're all in different parts of the country, and no, we're not in the same boat. We're all in a boat, though, right? We're all in different compartments in this huge, crazy boat of ours, right? So the other thing was, so, you know, to cap all of this wonderful crazy that's been going on in my life, you know, my daughter, one of my middle daughter is getting ready to. They've been planning this for months, and their plans were also derailed or delayed because of this. But they've sold their home and have saved enough money so that they can take a 9-month tour or a year-long tour of the United States in their trailer with their 2 young ones. And so over the weekend was their kind of bon voyage bye-bye party. So my mom wanted to get in and check out the trailer and the upgrades that they made. And as she was stepping out, she fell out of the trailer, cracked her head open. Once again, we're calling for an ambulance to come and take care of my mom, who's literally bleeding on the sidewalk. Don't want to move her. And paramedics come and they're like, oh yeah, weren't we here, last time it was for your dad? Aren't you the therapist? I mean, come on, people. I'm trying to be funny about it, but it was traumatic. But she's okay now. But what this incident showed was that she spent a couple days in the hospital, 2 nights in the hospital, because it uncovered that she has an atrial fibrillation. She has AFib, and her blood pressure was through the roof. My mom was a walking stroke. So we're almost grateful that basically, I told her, I said, so basically God had to literally knock you over the head to get us to all pay attention to your health, because it's not all about just dad. I'm just disclosing a little bit of the stuff that's happening with me. Mom's home now. I was able to make arrangements to go get her yesterday and bring her home, and now we're starting her on this whole heart health regimen as well. They're 82. This is normal stuff. The stuff that's going on with them is normal, but they're 82. So now it's time for me to recognize, and which I have been for a long time, that we have to make this transition. So this transition of my parents coming to live with me is happening. Transition of one of my daughters and her family leaving the state has happened, and then there's 2 other adult children that it's not my story to share, but there's things going on everywhere. And so how am I going to manage through this? How am I going to navigate it? Well, I'm going to use every single badass tool in my toolbox, and it starts with a morning routine and an evening routine. And I will share those with you later. I think I've been doing this Mustang Monday long enough, but I really did want to sort of, hey, sport my new hat, get in the car. I gotta go run some errands because I've got a big day ahead of me with lots of juggling and compartmentalizing and navigating this thing. I know how to do it. I know what to do. And one of the first things I did was reach out to very specific individuals that I knew could help me. I reached out for help. I'm getting my support system in gear, in place. So for everything that I need. So keep following me. And I'm not going to ask you for, this isn't me asking for any kind of sympathy. This is me saying, you know what, this might just be a case study on what tools work and how to go about some of these things, because life is going to throw these curveballs at you all of the time. Or you may be deciding at this time, at this juncture in your life, I'm ready to make a sweeping change in my life, but I know that it's going to take time. I'm your girl. I am. I'm the badass certifier. That's what I do. I certify badasses. And if you think you're badass, then let's get you certified. Tomorrow, it starts the Resilience 2020 Summit. It's absolutely free. I've collaborated with 5 of my colleagues. We're each individually doing a session. I'm actually on Wednesday. So there's 2 tomorrow, 2 Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. Everything you need to remain and be resilient and thrive while we continue to do this. So thanks for joining me. I am sitting in front of my house. You're going to see the little gardening guy. Zoop, there he goes. All right, I'm sitting in front of my house, literally on the street, giving you some badass tips, letting you know what's been going on with me. I'm gonna stay badass, and eventually I'm gonna have my mom and dad doing some videos with me, because captive audience. I've got so much more to share, but I gotta go, and I know you gotta go. It's Monday. Have a wonderful day, you guys. This is Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, in the car by myself for Mustang Monday, reminding you to be bold, be brave, be confident, and be badass. And I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.